I was the world's greatest complainer. And I mean that. If complaining was an Olympic sport, I'd have a gold medal hanging on my wall right now. I complained about my dead-end job. You know, the one where I'd sit in my car for 10 minutes every morning, dreading walking through those doors. I complained about being out of shape while eating cereal for dinner. I complained about being broke while buying things I didn't need. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. Because here's the thing, complaining felt productive. It felt like I was doing something about my problems, but I wasn't. I was just stuck, waiting for life to happen to me instead of making it happen for me. And the worst part? I knew it. Deep down, I knew I was wasting my life. But I didn't know how to stop until I had this moment, this embarrassing, eye-opening moment that changed everything. Chapter 1. The Discipline Lie. Let me tell you about the most embarrassing moment of my life. I was at a friend's birthday party and someone asked me what I'd been up to lately. You know what I said? I spent 15 minutes complaining about my job, my apartment, my dating life, my bank account, everything. And this guy, let's call him Mike, just looked at me and said, "Dude, you said the exact same things at Sarah's party 6 months ago." 6 months. I had been complaining about the same problems for 6 months without doing anything about them. I went home that night and I couldn't sleep. Because Mike was right. I was stuck in this loop of complaining and waiting, complaining and waiting. See, I thought discipline was about becoming one of those people who wakes up at 5 a.m. and drinks green smoothies and has their life perfectly together. You know those people? The ones who make you feel like garbage just by existing. But here's what I learned. Those people aren't disciplined. They're just different. They figured out something I was missing. They stopped giving their power away to their circumstances. They stopped waiting for permission to change their lives. I used to scroll through Instagram looking at successful people, thinking they must have some secret I don't know. Maybe they had rich parents. Maybe they got lucky. Maybe they had connections. So I kept waiting. I waited for my boss to notice my potential. I waited for the perfect moment to start working out. I waited for inspiration to strike. And while I was waiting, I was complaining. Because complaining felt like I was acknowledging the problem. It felt like I was being realistic about my situation. But really, I was just avoiding the one thing that could actually change my life: taking action. Chapter 2. What discipline really is. The moment everything changed for me was so simple. It's almost stupid. I was sitting in my car after work, again, complaining to my girlfriend on the phone, about my boss, about my coworkers, about how unfair everything was. He didn't even acknowledge the report I worked on all week. I mean, I stay late, I put in effort, and for what? This place is toxic. I should just quit, because I need the money, but I hate it there, but I can't. You know what she said? She said, "Baby, you've been having this exact conversation with me for 3 months. What are you going to do about it?" And I just sat there, because I realized I had no answer. I had spent so much energy complaining that I had no energy left for solutions. That's when it hit me. I had a choice to make. I could keep complaining about my life, or I could take matters into my own hands. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when I felt ready, right now. So I asked myself, what's one thing, just one thing, I can control about this job situation? My resume. I could update my resume. I know. It sounds so basic, but here's the thing. I hadn't updated my resume in 2 years. 2 years. I was complaining about my job while actively doing nothing to find a better one. So I went home that night and I updated my resume. It took me 2 hours. 2 hours to take back some power over my career. And something shifted. I didn't feel helpless anymore. I felt capable, like I could actually change my situation. That's what discipline really is. It's not about self-control. It's about taking control. It's about reclaiming your power from everything that's been controlling you. The next day, I applied to 3 jobs. The day after that, I applied to 5 more. Within 2 weeks, I had 3 interviews lined up. I didn't get the first job or the second, but I got the 3rd one. And you know what? It wasn't perfect either, but it was mine. I had chosen it instead of just accepting what happened to me. That's when I realized Discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about being powerful. Chapter 3, the system that works. Okay, so you want to know the system? The one that actually works in real life, not just in motivational videos? It's embarrassingly simple, and it starts with catching yourself being human. Step 1, the complaint audit, and it's going to hurt. Here's what I did and what I want you to do. For one entire day, I wrote down every single complaint I made. Out loud, in my head, in text to friends, everything. By 10 a.m., I had 17 complaints written down. 17. About the weather, about traffic, about my coffee being too hot, about my coffee getting cold, about my coworkers' laugh, about the printer being slow. It was exhausting just reading the list. No wonder I felt powerless. I was giving my power away to everything. Step 2, the reality check question. For each complaint, I asked myself, what's one thing I can actually control here? Complaining about traffic? I could leave 10 minutes earlier. Complaining about my coworkers' laugh? I could. Well, nothing. So I stopped complaining about it. Complaining about the weather? I could bring an umbrella. Complaining about being tired? I could go to bed earlier. Suddenly, half my complaints had solutions. Simple, obvious solutions I'd been ignoring because I was too busy complaining. Step 3, the smallest victory. Here's where I messed up the first time. I tried to fix everything at once. I was going to wake up at 5 a.m., meal prep, exercise, read, meditate, and reorganize my entire life. I lasted 3 days. 3 days. Then I felt like a failure and went back to complaining. So I tried again, but this time, I picked the smallest possible action. I mean, embarrassingly small. I was complaining about being out of shape, so instead of joining a gym, buying equipment, or planning some intense workout routine, I decided to do 5 push-ups every morning. 5, not 50, 5. And you know what happened? On day 1, I did 5 push-ups and felt proud. On day 2, I did 5 push-ups and felt consistent. By day 7, I felt like someone who exercises. Step 4, the identity shift. This is the part that changed everything for me. After a week of doing 5 push-ups every morning, I started thinking of myself differently. Instead of, I'm someone who complains about being out of shape, I became someone who exercises every day. That identity shift is everything, because when you see yourself as someone who takes action, taking action becomes automatic. Step 5, the stack but slowly. After 2 weeks of 5 push-ups, I added one more tiny habit. I started drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning. 5 push-ups plus 1 glass of water. That's it. 2 weeks later, I added a 5-minute walk after lunch, then reading 1 page of a book before bed. But here's the key. I never stacked until the previous habit felt automatic, until it felt weird not to do it. The failure that taught me everything. Let me tell you about the time this system completely fell apart. I was doing great for about 6 weeks. Push-ups, water, walking, reading. I felt invincible. Then I got food poisoning. I was sick for 3 days, couldn't do any of my habits, and when I felt better, I just stopped everything. For 2 weeks, I didn't do a single push-up. I was back to complaining about being lazy and undisciplined. But then I remembered, I had done this before. I had proof that I could take control, so I started again. Just 5 push-ups, and this time, I forgave myself for the gap. That's when I learned the most important lesson. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about getting back up. It's about starting again. It's about being human. Chapter 4, the psychology behind it. Let me tell you why this actually works, because understanding this will make you feel less crazy. I used to think there was something wrong with me, like I was broken or lazy or weak-willed, especially when I'd see people who seemed to have it all together. I had this coworker, let's call her Sarah, who worked out every morning, meal prepped on Sundays, read a book a week, and never seemed stressed. I hated her. Not really, but kind of. I thought she was just naturally disciplined, like she was born with some willpower gene I didn't have. But here's what I learned. Sarah wasn't naturally disciplined. She just had different neural pathways than me. Your brain has these pathways, like highways for thoughts. Every time you complain, you're strengthening the complaining highway. Every time you take action, you're building the action highway. I had been driving on the complaining highway for so long that it became my default route. Sarah had been building her action highway for years. But here's the beautiful part. You can build new highways. I did it. Sarah did it. And you can too. The confidence compound effect. Every time I chose action over complaining, something happened to my confidence. Not because I got amazing results, but because I proved to myself that I had power. When I did those 5 push-ups every morning, I didn't suddenly get ripped, but I became someone who keeps promises to himself. That changed how I felt about everything. When I applied for those jobs, instead of just complaining about my current one, I didn't immediately get hired, but I became someone who takes action on his problems. That changed how I saw myself. The identity war. Here's what nobody talks about. Changing your identity is hard because your brain fights you. There were days when I'd wake up and think, you're not a person who exercises, you're a person who complains about not exercising. Just skip the push-ups today. But every time I did the push-ups anyway, I was voting for the new identity. Every time I chose action over complaining, I was changing who I was. It took about 2 months before the new identity felt real. 2 months of proving to myself, one small action at a time, that I was someone who takes control of his life. The relapse reality. Let me be honest about something. I still complain sometimes. I still have days where I want to just give up and go back to waiting for life to happen to me. Last month, I had a terrible day at work. My project got canceled, my boss was in a bad mood, and I spent the whole drive home complaining to myself about how unfair everything was. But then I caught myself. I asked, what's one thing I can control about this situation? And I realized I could use this as motivation to work on my side project when I got home. So I did. I spent 2 hours working on something that could eventually get me out of that job situation entirely. The old me would have spent those 2 hours complaining to my girlfriend or scrolling through social media feeling sorry for myself. The new me used that energy to take action. That's the difference discipline makes. It doesn't make you perfect, it makes you powerful. Chapter 5, Building Your Discipline Stack. Alright, let's get real about what you're going to do when this video ends. Because I know what's going to happen. You're going to feel motivated for about 20 minutes, then you're going to go back to your normal life and forget about this conversation. I know, because that's what I used to do. I'd watch a motivational video, feel inspired, plan to change my entire life, then do nothing. So we're going to make this different. We're going to make this so simple that you can't fail. Your 30-day anti-complaining challenge. Week 1, the awareness phase. Day 1 to 3, write down every complaint you make. You'll be shocked. Day 4 to 7, for each complaint, identify one thing you can control. Pick the easiest one and take the smallest possible action. Week 2, the proof phase. Choose one daily action that takes less than 5 minutes. Do it every single day, even if you don't feel like it. Document your streak. I used a simple calendar with X's. Week 3, the identity phase. Keep your original action going. Add one more tiny action, only after the first one feels automatic. Notice how your self-talk is changing. Week 4, the power phase. Maintain both actions. When you catch yourself complaining, immediately ask, what can I control? Celebrate becoming someone who takes action instead of complaining. I'm going to be honest with you. There will be days when you don't want to do this. There will be days when complaining feels easier than taking action. On those days, remember why you started. Remember that you have a choice. You can keep giving your power away to your circumstances, or you can take it back. The support system. One thing that helped me was telling my girlfriend about my challenge. She started calling me out when I complained without offering a solution. It was annoying at first, but it helped me catch myself faster. Find someone who will support your journey. Share this challenge with them. Ask them to help you stay accountable. The failure plan. Because you're going to fail. Not maybe. You will. I did. Everyone does. When you miss a day, when you fall back into complaining, when you feel like giving up, just start again. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for next month. Just start again. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is becoming someone who takes action instead of waiting for life to happen to them. Chapter 6, the long game. I want to end with something that might make you uncomfortable. A year ago, I was sitting in the same spot you are right now, watching videos about discipline, feeling motivated, planning to change my life. But I was also scared. Scared that I was too old to change. Scared that I was too set in my ways. Scared that I was just destined to be someone who complains about life instead of living it. I want you to know, those fears were wrong. You are not too old. You are not too set in your ways. You are not destined to stay where you are. But you do have a choice to make, and that choice is simple. Are you going to keep giving your power away, or are you going to take it back? 6 months from now, you're going to be somewhere. You can be in the same place you are right now, still complaining about the same things, still waiting for someone else to fix your problems. Or you can be someone who takes action, someone who has proven to themselves that they have power over their life, someone who gets what they want because they're willing to do what it takes. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not easy. There are days when I still want to complain instead of taking action. There are days when I miss my old habits. But I would never go back, because I've tasted what it feels like to have power over my life. And once you taste that, you can't go back to feeling powerless. So what's it going to be? What's the first thing you're going to stop complaining about and start taking action on? Don't just think about it. Write it down. Right now. In the comments, on a piece of paper, in your phone. I don't care where. Just write it down. Because thoughts without action are just complaints in disguise. And you're done complaining. Remember? I believe in you. I believe in your power to change your life. But more importantly, I hope you start believing in it too. Now stop watching videos and go take action. Your future self is counting on you. Hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started on this journey together. I'll see you in the next one.